You are listening to the Maple Footy Podcast. This is the unofficial football podcast of the North. I'm your host, Sam Little. Find me at official Sam Little on Instagram. There's nothing left to say except for sit back, enjoy, and welcome to the show.
Welcome back to the Maple Footy Podcast, and I am rather excited about this episode. It is times like these that really excite me to do these episodes and get talking and just get thinking about these things. Because, yes, I am the Maple Footy Podcast, so a big part of this podcast is the Canadian men's national team and just Canadian soccer in general, to be honest with you. But obviously, right now, we are talking about the Canadian men's national team, and I am pretty excited about the fact that we will be Copa Amercia Semi Finalists. And yes, I can't quite express how amazing that is. Canada are officially Copa Amercia Semi Finalists. It just sounds so good, doesn't it? It really does. I mean, how can that not put a smile on your face as a Canadian citizen, as a Canadian football fan? How can you not absolutely love that? Because if you don't, then check your pulse, maybe. Maybe something's not functioning quite right, because that is maybe the biggest accomplishment on the men's side of our program that we potentially have had. We are in the semifinals of a major tournament. Yes, qualifying for the World Cup was amazing, but this, I feel like, feels like it's almost neck and neck with that. I could be wrong, but this feels like a moment for our men's national team. It feels like a moment that the world is kind of sitting up and going, oh my goodness, these guys might have something here. We said that going into the World Cup, we were going to make them know, and I feel like we did, but now we have the results to kind of back that up. Our World Cup qualifying campaign was unreal. We played some amazing football, and we looked unstoppable. We got to the big stage, and yes, I do still think we performed well, but of course 0 points in our group, so that was always kind of thrown back at us. Now we're in the major tournament, and we've made it to the semifinal of this major tournament. And yes, obviously there will be criticisms throughout this episode. I will have opinions, and that's okay. But just know that this was amazing, and what these boys have done is incredible. They've played in stadiums where essentially 95% of the fans were rooting against Canada, and still we perform. You have U.S. former players, pundits, Carly Lloyd and Clinton Dempsey, and whoever else wants to keep talking about Canada, that this should be the States, and they don't want to be Canada. But it is Canada, though, in this position in the semifinal. And it's our first ever Copa America, and we're the semifinalists. So I'm sure that if or when we do go out, they will be the first to laugh. But that is okay, because we will always know in their home tournament, we went further than them with a much harder draw. And something about that does just put a smile on your face, doesn't it? We're starting to be taken seriously as a footballing country, which I think is beautiful. Before, we weren't getting these comments made about us that, it should be the States over Canada. We don't want to be Canada. We weren't getting those comments, but now we're starting to, and it's been going on for just a little bit now with the World Cup qualifying, and then now, of course, this. I feel as though it feels like we are being taken seriously, and that is a very good feeling, I must say. We've exceeded anyone and everyone's expectations, and the boys are playing out of their skin. And that hard work just hasn't gone unnoticed. And yeah, just so proud of these boys. And before I do go any further, Tajon Buchanan, this is the first episode I've done since his horrific freak injury. A bit of a shock to any football fan in Canada reading the news that in training he had gone down with a serious injury. And then obviously now we know he'll be out for at least 4 to 6 months. That sucks. It does suck. It does really suck. He's a talented player. Seems like from the interviews I've seen of him, he seems like a great guy. And yeah, it does suck, but all of Canada will be rooting for him. I'm hoping and praying for a speedy recovery for him. And all of Canada's behind him. I just hope that he comes back and he'll be back stronger, better than ever. And it is a miss for us. Selfishly, I would say it's a miss for the Canadian men's national team. We don't have another player like him, and he is one of our best and most talented. But on a personal level, I'm glad that his operation, the surgery, went well. Of course, I'm sure there probably is still a little bit of shock there. But I am glad that everything's okay and that hopefully sooner rather than later he'll be back on the pitch and doing what he does best. But yeah, definitely get well soon, Tajon. And another funny story I just wanted to share real quick was a few days ago, almost a week at this point, I think. Maybe not a week. Doesn't matter. I was at the gym and I actually ran into Theo Corbinu, which was pretty cool. So yeah, just wanted to say we talked a little bit about obviously this Copa run. It was, I believe, the day before our semifinal against Venezuela, and he was just saying how excited he was and how he was going to be watching the game. And yeah, just seemed like a really great guy, and wish him nothing but success too. But yeah, just good to see that these guys are just so down to earth and really just seem like nice guys, and they just love doing what they're doing. And how proud he felt being a Canadian men's national team in and out at this moment in time, but he seemed very proud of what the boys have accomplished. And yeah, I just want to share that because really, really great guy he seemed. And yeah, took about five minutes of his day to talk to me for a little bit. So if he's listening, just wanted to say he was a great guy and I really appreciated our conversation. But now, moving into the serious stuff. We already know how this works. Positives, negatives, and then player breakdowns. So, of course, let's start with the positives. And number one, top of the list, of course, semifinalists. Take a shot every time I say that we're semifinalists, by the way. There isn't a ton to say, but yes, semifinalists, amazing. I do hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Drink it in and enjoy it. This will be going up very, very soon before the actual semifinal, but I do hope that you've enjoyed the time in between the quarterfinal and the semifinal. Regardless of what happens in that semifinal, we should be very proud of these guys, and it is a once in a lifetime, or at least first time ever. Hopefully not a once in a lifetime, but first time ever that we've kind of seen these boys do this. So definitely, I really hope everyone has enjoyed it. I definitely have, and I definitely will always kind of cherish that memory of seeing these guys do what they did. And number two, I'm actually with Jesse Marsch. I haven't really given him his flowers a whole ton this tournament, or really much since he's come in. And I will say partially it is because we've played, to be blunt, a bit unattractive football at times. But he has set us up to get us results. And yes, we haven't been the most fun to watch, although I do actually think our game against Venezuela was one of the most entertaining games I've seen in this international window between Copa and Euros. But he's getting us results. I do feel as though managers don't always get the love they should when they're performing well. And we all know that the moment the results start going against him, everyone's going to be calling for the sack. So at this moment, I just wanted to say he's helped us a lot in this setup and in this tournament since he's come in. So while we're riding on this high, let's remember he has helped us in this short time in charge. So like or don't like how he's been playing, the way he's been playing has helped us get to where we are in this tournament. And in that sense, it is a results-based sport. So he is getting results. And my last little positive is we had two players that were absolutely unreal on the night. Firstly, the man in all the headlines, Jacob Schaffelberg, having a breakout tournament. He was causing problems every time he was on the ball. The only way the Venezuelan team could really get him off the ball was by just fouling him. He looked beaten by the end of the game. But yeah, he was creating chances, got us a goal, the only goal that we scored this match, might I add, and he could have created another one. He kind of got robbed of an assist a little bit. But yeah, even looking at his goal, it was a great little run into the box. And there was a clip on one of someone's socials, and they highlighted where his run began and obviously where it ended with the goal. And the wherewithal to be a left winger and kind of dip centrally and go a more central, almost more central right even, you could say, and run down and obviously end up being the man to finish off the goal is, yeah, it's just great kind of in-game IQ and reading the game so well. And then obviously the cherry on top is, of course, scoring that goal. So just a top player at the moment right now, and I'm sure that he'll be on the lips of many Canadians for hopefully years to come. And I'm going to assume he's probably on the lips of a good few clubs out there. I could be wrong, but I really do not think I am. And then, of course, our second other, I think you could debate, player of the match, Alistair Johnston. A man who went about his business quietly, but quietly it was an unreal performance. His passion when he's on that pitch is pretty much second to none, I would say. He was winning everything, it felt like. It seemed like no one was going to get past him, and his distribution was top class as per usual. I was a bit critical of him when Jesse Marsch first came in, and because he wasn't performing to that level that we had kind of seen him reach with Canada, but he has quickly turned that around. He's been performing very well, I would say, since the Chile game, potentially the Peru game, and yeah, just has looked great for a majority of this tournament and looked great against Venezuela. Just a solid right back, and truly one of the best in the tournament. I don't know if that's a hot take. I don't know if it's biased. I don't know. But in my opinion, he has been that good. So credit where it's due. I love Johnston, and I'm really glad to see that he's really hitting those highs that we've seen of him before. Moving into our negatives, of course, I think a big negative for us was our finishing. It was extremely poor. The game should have genuinely been done and dusted by about halftime. Probably should have been 3-0, I would say. Of course, the Schaffelberg goal. Then he created a great chance for Jonathan David, who definitely should have converted. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, he does convert that chance. And then Kyle Larin had a couple of chances, mainly that one where he just missed the ball when Richie Larea kind of put in a cross shot. And yeah, just not ideal when you're going into a game against Argentina where we're not going to get that amount of chances. So we're going to need to convert when we do get these chances, but we are blowing chances when we have multiple. So when we have maybe 2 or 3 against Argentina, we're going to need to score 2 out of those 3, in my opinion. So it's just concerning going into this Argentina game because we know we have the quality. Jonathan David has been great for us, and as has Kyle Larin. I know some people don't love Larin. I am a big fan of Kyle Larin, but we need them to start scoring consistently. I know David did get the goal against Peru, but that's his only goal of the tournament. Kyle Larin has sat on 0 goals since Marsh came in. So we need that killer instinct is what I'm trying to get at here. And of course, our second negative is the goal we conceded. It was not great. We got caught out on our own corner, which is obviously never a great start. We go from a goal-scoring opportunity to getting scored on. Never a good thing. Crepeau is caught backtracking as he was super pushed up in our half, which I know that's what keepers do. And yes, I don't love it, but I know that is how keepers play now. But then, yeah, so he's out of position. And then Bombito is our only man back, and he easily gets muscled off by Rondon, who, in all fairness, it's not an easy finish from Rondon, but it's just terrible to concede a goal in that manner. And like I said, then you factor in the goals that we probably should have scored. It's just not a great look. And to get muscled off the ball like that, yeah, you're gonna need to stand your ground a little bit more. I think Bombito's been great this tournament, but it was not a great moment for him. We will talk about Bombito though very, very soon, and we will get into Max Crepeau right now, starting off with our players. You already know how it works: defense, mid, attack. Let's get it. So Crepeau definitely caused redemption in the penalty shootout. He saved 2 crucial penalties, and still just proving to be such an immense player for us. I think it would have been a little bit cruel to see us go out, say we lost that penalty shootout, then a lot of the chat would have been that goal that we conceded. And I think that would have been harsh, given that we wouldn't be in this position without Crepeau, but we don't have to worry about that, because once again, when the lights were shining bright, Max Crepeau shines even brighter. 2 penalty saves in the shootout, one of them in the sudden death round. What more can you say? Like, I understand he probably should have done better on that goal, but 2 penalty saves when your country is absolutely needing a hero and you step up and make those saves, I'm not going to criticize you. Amazing stuff. Amazing. He's been one of the players of the tournament. He's been our player of the tournament, and he proved it in this penalty shootout. Yeah, just what can you say but wow. Looking at our defense, I thought was another solid outing for them. We already did talk about Johnston. He was immense, and he could be considered one of our man of the matches. He was that good. The type of Johnston performance we're used to seeing. He's just one of those clutch players. You know that you're going to get a solid 8 out of 10 from him anytime he steps on the field, and that's what we're getting. I mean, we're getting better than an 8 out of 10. We're getting a 10 out of 10 from him, but at minimum, you're getting an 8 out of 10. You're catching my drift. Looking to our other fullback, our captain, number 19, had a quietly good night. Didn't get forward a whole ton, but was huge for us at the back. Really kept a lot of the attackers quiet on Venezuela. And his distribution for the back, I still don't think gets the recognition. And because he is Alphonso Davies and he is our star player, the way that he just takes out 2 to 3 players just by being there, like, he's marked by at least 2 Venezuela players almost anytime you see him on the ball, or even sometimes off the ball, because they know what he's capable of. Him being marked like that opens up space on our left side for a Jacob Schaffelberg, or in our midfield for Estacio, Osorio, Kone, whoever you want to put there. It opens up that space. So having him on the field is a plus. But yeah, just a very good performance and hasn't really been talked about. But yeah, I just thought quietly, really good night, solid at left back. Him and Schaffelberg are starting to develop a really good link. So yeah, moving on to our center backs. They were pretty solid, if we're being honest. Bombito, of course, like I said, that moment of madness, not going to bring it up again. Outside of that, I thought he was solid. Nothing much was getting past him and really helped with the build-up from the back. And his penalty, did someone turn the temperature down? Because that was cold. He's getting laser shine in his eye, and the referee comes over and asks, I would assume, are you good? Whatever the ref asks. Bombito doesn't even acknowledge him. He is staring down the Venezuela goalkeeper. Then the whistle gets blown, and Bombito just, boom, converts the penalty. And I could be wrong. I am 99% sure that was his first ever professional penalty. I could be wrong, but I believe it was. And he wasn't fazed by that moment at all. The highest of highest pressure moments of his career to date, and didn't even look fazed. Moises Bombito. Wow. Good for you. And looking at Cornelius, another top performance from him. Once again, I'm going to put out a statement here. One of the best center backs of this tournament based on performance. He's been great. He wins everything in the air, has such a commanding presence at the back that just fills you with a confidence that you just can't quite explain. Nothing new to say about him, so I kind of do feel bad that I'm not spending a whole ton of time on him, but he has been great, and he's had a great tournament, and I'm currently waiting for both of our center backs to get their big moves at some point this summer. I'm really hoping they're coming. They both deserve it. Immense. Moving into our midfield, and starting out with Richie Larea. He just suits Copa America, doesn't he? He wins fouls, gets into his opponent's face, claims for everything to the referee, and he's just looking like he's in that top form that we saw a few years ago when he was really getting that interest from Europe. He's looking really good. He's looking dangerous. His crosses into the box are looking good. Takes his man on, runs him behind, just vintage Larea. And him and Johnston have kind of developed that relationship on the pitch of Johnston knows where Larea is going to be. He can find him with the pass, let Richie run him behind. Richie drops back. Johnston can overlap. Just a proper way to run that right flank, you would say. And yeah, just solid performance from Larea. Probably a bit unlucky not to have picked up an assist, potentially goal, however you want to look at that shot pass that he did in that first half. But yeah, just vintage Larea. And I just love watching him. You know, he's one of those entertainers that you just kind of love, you know. Of course, Jacob Schaffelberg, we kind of already did talk about. So once again, not really going to spend a whole ton of time on Jacob Schaffelberg, but top performance, really announcing himself to the Canadian world, I would say, or just the world in general. But yeah, just really happy to see his development because he's one of those players that I've watched since he kind of broke through at TFC. And now to watch him become, in this tournament at least, one of our mainstays is it's those things that like just puts a smile on your face as a fan, where it's like, yeah, you know, good for you. You know, we're all really proud of you. And yeah, just really sick to see him get a goal in the big moment and dedicate it to Tage. Just shows the togetherness of this team and just why you gotta love him so much, you know. Yeah, just good vibes over there. And then moving into the center of the park, Eustáquio, I thought he was good, not great. Struggled to really get great hold of possession, but when he did look good. His distribution was sound, of course. I still feel like he plays better with Osorio, but I do think that they do need the extra man in the midfield like Kone. I think that you can coexist and play with three of them in the midfield. That's my opinion. I do think it suits us a little bit better, but Marsh obviously likes the two-man midfield with kind of a more so classic 4-4-2 or even a 4-2-3-1, kind of with Jonathan David just in behind the striker. So obviously Marsh likes that. I don't think he's going to be changing it just yet. And at this point in the tournament, I don't see him making that big of a tactical change just yet. Potentially at all, but definitely not at this moment in time. But speaking of Jonathan Osorio, I think much like Estacio, he was good, not great, struggled to really get a stranglehold of the game, but he was also able to help win back possession, press, and distribute well. Like I always say about Osorio, he finds those pockets of space to operate in, and we don't really have a player like that. And I do think he does really complement Estacio well. They play really well together. And yeah, just not that kind of upper echelon of performance that you would potentially maybe want to see and what's going to be needed against, say, an Argentina. So with that being said, against Argentina, you can't struggle to get a stranglehold of the game. Even when you're not on the ball, you're going to have to be doing a lot of running and a lot of digging. And so you're kind of going to have to do more so of the dirty work instead of the keep possession and pass the ball a little bit. Like, no, you're probably going to have to really get your hands dirty kind of performance. So we'll see what they line up like. I wouldn't be surprised to see Kone back in the starting 11 for Osorio. Like I said, I'd still play all three of them. But whoever is lined up, it's going to need to be a big performance from any of our midfielders. It's going to have to be, because we are playing the world champs. We're playing the defending champs. It's going to have to be big. Moving into our attack, first starting with Jonathan David. I thought this was his best performance of the tournament. I'm going to be honest. He was so good, caused defenders problems, and any chance we got in this game, he played a part in. This is the Jonathan David performance that I want to see every time he lines up for Canada, if you could add in a goal, because this was a complete performance. I understand he did cough up possession a good few times, but the way he was dropping back, creating chances for Schaffelberg, Larea, Laren, whoever else, he looked phenomenal. He really did. I really was a fan of this performance. This is how we should be utilizing Jonathan David. I just wish that either him or his strike partner were converting chances, because as a striker, that is your job. But yeah, a really, really great performance from Jonathan David. That is the kind of performance I want to see from him every time he lines up in this team. Now, looking at his strike partner, Kyle Laren, I thought he was good as well. Could have converted one or two chances, but hopefully that goal is coming, and hopefully it's against Argentina. His hold-up play is still great, and we really don't have another striker like him. He's more really of that classic number 9 striker, and we don't really have that. Jonathan David is more of the Harry Kane type striker. Theo Baer is more of he could kind of run with the ball kind of thing. And Olosehi, sorry, I nearly forgot. He's also kind of like a guy that can run with the ball and hopefully finish off your chances. So we don't really have that guy that's just like the classic number 9. He'll make a run in behind, poacher's goal, and boom, there you go. So he can still be utilized. I have been seeing people calling for him to be out of the 11. If he gets out of the 11, not to bring it back up again, I would say to put in another midfielder for a Kyle Laren. But I do also think that he does offer this team a good amount. Like I said, I just need that goal from him, hopefully against Argentina. And then, of course, looking at our subs, Liam Miller replaced a very tired Jacob Schaffelberg. And I thought he looked pretty good when he came on. Sounding like a broken record, but him and Davies, they link up really well together. He was probably a touch unlucky not to find the back of the net soon after coming on. He had a great chance from a really, really strange angle, but he did well, and the keeper just made a good stop. There was a split second where I thought it was going in. I did cheer just a little bit. I thought it had went to the back of the net. But once again, another guy where I hope a goal's coming from him. He hit the bar against France, has kind of tested a few times. So a goal would be really nice. He did look good, though, I thought. Stepped up to take a penalty. I know he did miss, but you step up to take a penalty, that's always a possibility. And I want to see guys stepping up to take these penalties. And I'm never going to criticize the character of stepping up in, once again, one of the highest pressure moments of your career. Looking at our next substitution, Tani Oluseyi, another bright cameo, had two kind of half chances. Maybe on another day they go in, but it's just good to see that he's looking positive. Another cap for him as well, which is definitely gonna feel really great for him. And then looking at Ali Ahmed, kind of a bright cameo. I don't really think he was super involved in the game, but anytime he was kind of on the ball, it looked like maybe he could make something happen. And then, of course, Ishmael Kone came on 10 minutes ago, looked bright, but of course, his main contribution will be that penalty that sent us through to the semifinal. Not a whole ton to say outside of that for him, but do you need to? He scored the game-winning penalty. So, and man, another ice-cold penalty. Looking forward to our semifinal. It is a rematch against Argentina, who are, of course, favorites. It won't be an easy game, but I still don't think you can count us out. We've shown we're hard to beat, and we're a proper team. These boys are playing for each other and for the badge. It, of course, will not be easy and will be hard, but I do think it's possible. Set up well defensively, take our chances when they come. I'm going to say that again. Take our chances when they come. Everyone cross your fingers. We created chances last time out against Argentina but couldn't convert, and ultimately I do believe it cost us against them. I think the makings were there for an upset against Argentina in our first game. If you go back and watch that game, we were never out of it. We were not. We had our chances, but we didn't convert. In this game, if we don't convert, we go to the third place match, not the final. We want to be in the final. Of course we do. So please convert your chances. Keep creating, set up well defensively, and I think we are a hard team to beat. I know Argentina are class. I know they have Lionel Messi. I know they have X, Y, and Z world-class players. But hey, anything can happen. You got to believe, right? You got to believe. And then, of course, with that being said, that does bring to a close this Canadian men's national team recap. I want to reiterate how happy I am, how far we've made. And everyone in the top 4 for Copa and Euros are in the top 15 in the world except for us. We're 48th. So to say this is an incredible achievement is an absolute understatement. The boys should be proud of what they're doing, and it's been a phenomenal effort. And since we are in the Final Four, that does mean we do have 2 more episodes in this Copa America run. The semifinal recap, of course, and depending on how that game goes, it will either be a final recap, or if we lose the semifinal, it will be a recap of the third place match. Regardless of which match we are in and however the semifinal goes, immensely proud of the team, and I will be covering the remaining 2 games in this run. An iconic run for our country and for this program. Definitely one to be proud of, and we've made a lot of people sit up and take notice, I think. So keep checking this space for new episodes. Subscribe if you haven't. Follow my Instagram at @officialsamlittle to be the first to know about new drops. And until next time, everyone.
And that
Cheers.
was your Maple Footy podcast. Thank you so much for listening. Check my socials for any and all future updates at @officialsamlittle on Instagram, where I am most active. And until next time, live, laugh, little.